One of the cool things about cantrips is that they scale as you grow in power. So, as your character becomes more powerful, so do your cantrips. So they retain their relevance, even surpassing the power level of many first level spells. Unfortunately, though, this is only for damaging cantrips, which means that a lot of non-damaging cantrips that have more utility purposes, such as light, seem to fall behind, surpassed by magic items and simple illusion or utility spells. While there is some exceptions to this, like Shillelagh and Friends, which will always have some degree of relevance, a lot of these simply fall behind and become almost useless at the higher levels. One solution to that, one fellow made a PDF I'll put in the description, has an idea for evolving cantrips. These would be similar to the damaging cantrips, as even your utility cantrips would scale in power as you level up, allowing them to retain at least some degree of relevance. So I'll give some examples of that and maybe encourage you to think about if this is something you want to add to your campaign, or even form your own evolving versions of these, as I think some of these need a little bit of improvement. First one we'll be going over is one of my favorite spells, Control Flame. So if you don't know how this works, you choose an area of flame within a 5-foot cube that's up to 60 feet away, and as an action, you can do one of the following effects. You can expand the flame 5 feet in any direction, given that there's fuel for that to happen. You can extinguish the flame within the cube. You can have or double the area of bright and dim light being emitted by the flame. And you can create simple shapes within that flame. And the non-instantaneous effects last for an hour, and you can have up to 3 of these effects at one time. And you can dismiss such effects as an action. So what the evolving cantrips would do is at 5th level, you'd be able to have up to 6 non-instantaneous effects at a time. And you can dismiss any number of those as a bonus action other than action. At 11th level, you can extinguish or change the area of light cast by any number of flames within range simultaneously. Additionally, you may affect the flame to produce no heat, and this change lasts for an hour. So as an additional effect, which is removing all heat from that flame, that's pretty cool for kind of more an evolutionary effect, like walking through the flame and scaring your opponents, as well as being able to choose multiple flames within the area and affect those at the same time. And then at 17th level, any flames you target for this effect may be fit within a 10-foot cube rather than a 5-foot cube, and the duration of these non-instantaneous effects lasts up to 24 hours. So I know it's a little late to be getting something like that at 17th level, but it's just a way to keep cantrips relevant as you level up, and I think this does a pretty good job at doing that. So the next spell we're going to be talking about is Mei Chen. So this, as an action, you can form a small floating hand, which can hold up to 10 pounds and can be up to 30 feet away from you, and it lasts for a minute. So what the evolving cantrips would do is at 5th level, you can ignore the verbal component to the spell. Well, I feel like this one does that a lot, and I'm a little iffy about that part, because I feel like depending on what kind of game you want to run, the verbal and somatic components aren't too important. So if this, is a big thing and allows you to be more subtle within that, this is definitely a good change for that sort of campaign. But if you don't care about that as much, you might want to substitute with something else. And also, you can make the hand appear fully corporeal. But it still is pretty much featureless. At 11th level, you can increase the spell's range to 60 feet. And when you cast a spell, you can make the hand appear with any features and adornments. Like you can make it like an armored gauntlet, or kind of like a bloodied hand. So there's a lot more kind of ideas that start popping up when you think, I can make it look this certain way, which gives it more utility than just a normal mage hand. Um, and then finally at 17th level, the hand can carry up to 20 pounds and can be made to be twice as large. So again, pretty small changes, but it's just a way to add some flavor and maybe find some new uses for cantrips, even as you become very powerful. The third spell we're going to be looking at is Mending. So if you don't know how this works, it's a casting time of 1 minute. There's a range of touch, and it repairs a single break or tear in an object that's no larger than 1 foot in any dimension. Leaves all trace that the tear ever happened, but it can't repair any like major damages. If part of the object is missing, it can't replace that. And it will repair a magic item, but if it lost its magical properties, those can't be restored. So what the evolving cantrips would do is at 5th level, it repairs a single break or tear that's up to 3 feet in any dimension, as well as resembling any number of broken fragments that can fit inside a 1 foot cube. So if you broke a small vase, then you can repair it with a spell. Additionally, you can remove any scratches or rust from metal objects, or restore burnt cloth or leather, as long as 4/5 of it remain. So that adds a lot of utility to that spell, and allows you to use it in new ways, as well as just making it better in general by expanding the area that can be repaired up to 3 feet. At 11th level, it repairs a single break or tear that's no larger than 10 feet. So that is a massive break. You could have a large crack in a wall or boulder or something, and that whole thing can be repaired. Additionally, you can reassemble any number of broken fragments of an object that fit inside a 5-foot cube. So you can probably repair an entire broken coffin with that, which is pretty neat. And also you can restore any corroded metal objects to the original untarnished state, and the spell now has a range of 15 feet rather than touch. So it's a lot of really small effects that add up in the long run and keep it relevant as you level up. And finally, at 17th level, the spell has a casting time of 1 action, which means if your sword or something is damaged during combat, you can just take an action to repair it, and then stand back up and get back to hitting things. So, all in all, I think this is one of the best changes of all the spells that were made here. This gives it so much utility, and you can just start imagining the sorts of things that you could do with the Mending spell. So those were some of the evolving cantrips. And the great thing is it doesn't just go over cantrips, it also goes over psionic talents from the Mystic class, which I think is really neat. And maybe some of them are even cooler than the normal cantrips. I would actually even recommend trying to run some of these psionic talents as cantrips. And feel free to just give your players some cantrips for free, because the players will most likely make use of the stuff that you give them, and it's always fun to see what kind of things your players will come up with. So hopefully that helps, and may the force be with you. I'm keeping that in.